In 2018, February, when my father passed away, I saw the amount of people that he had touched. More than 100,000 people were there, and on his last day, they actually brought mud from all the districts and cremated it. There was an emotional thing. My father did something good. My father had a very good relationship with Mrs. Sidramaiah. Congress did not field a candidate. They supported me openly. BJP did field a candidate, but Smrata Amrish did not come campaigning. She did support. I tried to stay away from politics.
That by itself is a very unique thing to say for a politician. Issue that most people in the country will talk about, especially with regard to politicians, is vote kedak bartare, vote ಗೆದ್ದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ.
People used to come in the morning. So these people are coming mainly 75% of the time is all revenue related issues. Another 10% based on this season, school care recommendation, job recommendation. So Ethan. Some court cases, police station, the phone mado, grant gal bandilla, manegal grant bandilla, itara. The people who don't come to me will never be able to get those problems solved.
ಇವಾಗ ಒಬ್ಬ MLA ಆದರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ MP ಆದರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಇವೆನ್ಚುಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆದರೆ ವಾಟ್ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಪವರ್ ಈಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ ಟು ದಿ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮನಿ ದಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಮನಿ, ಜನರೇಷನಲ್ ವೆಲ್ತ್. ದ ಕೋರಿಲೇಷನ್ actually in our country between how rich a state is and the directly proportional impact to the number of farmer suicides, which means Maharashtra today is basically the number one contributor in terms of GDP for the country and is also number one in the annual farmer suicides. It is such an unfortunate thing. We are the third largest contributor, Tamil Nadu being second, and Karnataka is second on the list of farmer suicides. Another interesting flip side correlation also I found was Meghalaya. Actually, in terms of the income per person out of farming is number one, and Punjab actually comes number two. And if you look at their GDPs, they fall on the other side. They contribute the least. So what is happening here really? Right, left, right side, the left side.
I'm not concerned about all those things. I'm just focused on making progress.
Your view on what is a role of task? It is important to know what you think.
Yeah, no, I'll be very honest. There is one topic that gets me kicked off is caste. Actually set up a call center, it will be a catch-all for all issues. People just call, okay, nobody calls. So now I know the problem. Now we are running Panchayati hackathons.
Oh, wow, I knew it as a catch term, Panchayati hackathon.
Yeah, I've actually talked to a couple of VCs already saying that, hey, we are open for business.
Nice.
So we said, come experiment with us. We would like to open source it. So in fact, all these hackathons I'm already documenting in GitHub.
Wow.
So we're going to put it out.
One thing I will guarantee you among all the MLAs, ಇದ್ರೆ 4-5 ಜನ ಇರಬಹುದು elected members currently who know what GitHub is.
It's all sounds rosy thought. As a fellow entrepreneur, it's all in the execution. They should not go to private schools. They should just go to our government schools, provided we give them the right kind of education, infrastructure, the same level of education that a private school provides. Why wouldn't they? So every kid, parents have to spend 1,20,000 to 1,60,000 a year. So we'll save that money for them. We're starting to experiment on this in weddings, like how India ಗೊತ್ತಿರಂಗೆ ಸರಳ ವಿವಾಹ was a big thing. I got married the same way. Simple weddings, 2-3 hour affair, we're done. And say, this is the full wedding, zero waste, and employ people. Like, okay, 5 lakhs, like a wedding will be done, 10 lakhs, this is what is going to be done, simple weddings. 2 days ago, we actually demolished one of our government schools and we are rebuilding it from scratch.
Demolished, like actual took down the whole empire.
The whole government school that was built in 1935.
Wow.
We still have the stones. We'll make sure the stone goes on the new school.
So it will be 69 or 70. 22 years from now, it will be 69 or 70, depending on the month. Right? But what do you think India would be in 2047? ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟೇ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಿಡೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ or rather not backed by the duopoly ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ I think for our audience, which is mostly a very young audience, they do not understand the strength with which you are actually operating, which is being the voice of the farmers. And ನಿಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆಯವರ background. Raisa Sangha, especially in the 70s and 80s in Karnataka, was a very, very huge movement to an extent where it had gained national prominence. And I think Professor Nanjun Swami ಅವರ ನೇತೃತ್ವ ಆದಮೇಲೆ for the longest period of time, your father led the organization. And that itself, if for anybody to go back and read up about the history of the organization and see the effect it had on Karnataka politics by itself, one could easily argue that Raita Sangha by itself had the power to make or break the law. With all of that said and done, in background, software engineer, well-educated entrepreneur, so you knew how to manage people, probably manage tasks and challenges. But now you're probably filling into really big shoes, right?
Right.
And like I said, legacy-wise, ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ Professor Nanjun Swami ಅಂತ ಒಂದು tall leader, and then again your father, and now you are expected also to fill into such large shoes, and you are now entering, or rather, ಇವಾಗ ಪಾದಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡಿರ ಪಾಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ. What is your vision for farmers specifically? And for you, from a vision point of view, are you right now only going to be focused about the constituency, or are you going to take up the cause of farmers and move in the direction and the path that was set up by your father and people?
This is a great question. I think, like you said, it's a very big shoes to go. I think people are expecting me to raise up and really take things forward. Right. I think, like I said earlier, I'm up for the challenge, and I like it. I like these challenges, and I think everything that I'm facing, it's all new. That also helps. It's more like, I have a different perspective on every problem that we are trying to solve, which I think is my advantage also in a lot of ways. And to answer your question, am I just focused on Berinam constituency or throughout the state, like the organization? Yes. I think we are now at a stage where we are still experimenting in our constituency, with the hope that we'll take it across the state. And I do feel that there are a lot of very qualified people in the organization whom we are not recognizing and being them to the forefront. I think we need to identify those people and bring those people forward at the state level. Let them run it, and we work under them. I think that is my honest hope, that people can lead and then we follow and help them run some of these tasks for them. And based on the learnings that we are giving. So I think the first thing, this is something that I've talked to many of the leaders in Delhi. They okay, are we still relevant?
What do you mean, RBS?
As Karnataka Rajya Raja Sangha, when we formed, right, the issues were different.
Correct, absolutely.
Right, the issues now are different. The way we were trying to solve problems then, is that still relevant? Is a direct question that I'm asking everybody. Is like, okay, everybody needs to transform to be relevant in today's world. Right? So that is the first question that I'm asking everybody. Is like, okay, let's actually go back to the drawing board and say, let's build and transform Raita Sangha for the problems that we are facing, the farmers are facing today, and then move things forward. So that is the approach we are trying to take, and that is what we are trying to experiment based on the little knowledge that I've gained in the last couple of years, what those problems are. I think I've read some reports, and like number one issue that we as a country are facing is the way we farm. The agriculture transformation, the economics of the farmers need to go up. Only then our country can go. So how do we make that happen? Right? So we're going to the crux of the problem and trying to solve from that and say, okay, now let's go to the government and say, here are policy changes, here are our demands that we need to help our farmers economically grow. It all comes down to that. We want more water. We want more electricity. End of the day, the way we farm, the way the yield that the farmers get, the prices we get for the yield, it all comes down to the economics.
Right.
And if the economics are good, then lifestyles go up.
Yeah.
So the economy gets created locally. So I think we're trying to experiment a bunch of these things with new, we all see all these, act tech companies and food tech companies and things like that. But I think, how do we create a funnel for some of these ideas to flow through and actually go to the ground, which is personalized and localized? So those are like some experiments we are working.
No, I actually have an angle to that. I'll probably come to it. But based on what you just now said, I think I'd like to pick on the three parts there. One is the way you thought about the organization or you articulated right now. I feel probably is closest to another experiment that is happening in the north of our country by Prashant Kishore with Jan Suraj. Like his statement also has always been that I will find leaders from the community and eventually they will lead and I will sort of take a backseat or play the advisory. And is there some sort of correlation there?
I mean, I had not read about that, but I'm glad you brought that up. I think it's there. It's I mean, I would love to really solve problems first. I think we need to. I don't think I've really agreed upon. Okay, this is the way forward for our organization. I think we had agitations before. We never left the place till the demands were met. Now the agitations have become where it's just a couple of hours and we give a press statement. Somebody comes in and gets a letter, and then we. I don't think that was what Vaitsinda did before. They stood there for a year, stood there for a month, stood there for however long. So because they were committed to the cause, and everybody had a personal connection to the problem that they were agitating towards. Right. So what is that today? And how do we actually bring that? Right. So that I think, to answer your question, that is important. I know I didn't directly answer that question, but I think like the experiments that are happening up north, we want to bring other people in the forefront, and I'm not adamant about leading it. I want to contribute to the cause, whether be it a volunteer, be it a leader, whatever that may be. But I think, and I know what I can do and cannot do as well. And so it's just, I'll choose to do where I can actually make a bigger impact rather than getting into things that I really cannot focus.
Makes sense. I think ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ಮೇಲ್ಕೋಟೆ ಒಂಥರ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ಅಪ್ ಪಾರ್ಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ you like a simple MVP.
It's an MVP for me. Yeah, we are experimenting a lot. We're building tools. We're building tech. We're building on the ground experiments. It's all true MVP fashion. We are starting with pen and paper. Then like, okay, did it work? Let's build tech around it. Awareness program. Like it's there's a lot of correlation between what I used to do and here.
I can see that as an entrepreneur and how that's working.
So, and I think like I'm a firm believer in saying, understanding the problem well, so it'll actually keep 50% of the solution right there. Right? So I think picking the problems that I can articulate, I can understand and relate. I think that's where you're spending a lot of time. It took me 8-9 months, to be very honest, to understand the system, understand the problems people are. Like, I think we failed initially. To be very transparent with you. So okay, now I understand the problem. 1 month, 2 months into the office, I said, oh, let's actually do this, let's do that. we fell flat on our faces.
Can you spray a little bit on that?
Yeah,
Or one the other example?
Yeah, it's basically said, oh, let's actually set up a call center. It'll be a catch-all for all issues. People just call. And just nobody calls.
Oh wow.
Right? So
Oh, this was ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಲಾಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಕಾಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ತರ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಜನ ಇಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ somebody will
help you that. Help ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ we even gave like a WhatsApp number. We did all that in the first month.
okay.
I think our constituency is all, it's very farmer focused. The issues were different. Then we said, Ella ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, they used to send some messages. Initially, it worked for 10-15 days, a month tops. And after that, just died. And we continued that effort for a bit, and we understood the problems were different. So then we said, okay, ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಎದ್ದು ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ರು ಜನರು, like people used to come in the morning, come visit me. Then we started saying, okay, now what are the problems these guys are coming to me for? We started collecting that data. So these people are coming mainly 75% of the time is all revenue related issues. Another 10% based on this season, school get recommendation or job recommendation. So either then there is some court cases, either police station reform model. ಈ ಥರ ನಮಗೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಗಳು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ಮನೆಗಳು ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಥರ. So these were, so we could easily put all these into different buckets. So we started collecting that.
The first is mistakes.
Yeah. So we said, all right, like, how do I say, I mean, personally, how do I get my time back? So can I put some systems in place?
Right.
So these can work, then I can get my time back to focus on new things rather, strategic things rather than tactical things on a day-to-day basis. So like, how do you compartmentalize that? We started thinking in that sense. So how do you so like I said, a lot of all these experiments gave me, I mean, a lot of the other, if people, like other politicians, if you go say, knew this answer, why did you expect it? For me, it is new.
Right.
So
Sometimes you have to still go through your path to learn the answer. And only then will you truly understand the meaning of it.
So now I know the problem. Now we are running Panchayati hackathons.
Oh, wow. I think that is a catch up. Panchayati hackathon.
Yeah. So we said, all right, like, this is an experiment. First, what we did is, I took all the departments along with me for a whole day in one panchayat. So we went from one village to another village to another village, anywhere between one village, 2 villages to 11, 12, depending on how big the panchayat size is. And then we collected all the complaints, people we had invited, output. So we went back. The government officials took these and they made a list of things, created a backlog and started working on it. But those did get solved.
Why not? Because we need the support of
the system. Plus, the government officials were also, see, the major issue is the government officials got busy with their own work. For any work to be done, you need, like, especially a revenue department work, right? So you need to, a survey department, you need the revenue department, you need the panchayat support. Like, there's a lot of dependency.
Right.
The system has created that. So the majority, so people who come to me in the mornings, the success rate for those people is, all I did was, this is an issue, I need help. I used to call up the Tahsildar, I have to call up the EO, I used to call up whoever, and say, hey, this person's going to come get it done. So people who don't come to me will never be able to get those problems solved. Or to a certain percent. Even of the people who came to me, that 75% of the people who came, maybe about 5% of their problems got solved.
Oh,
right? Even after we call up. And because there is some dependency.
right.
So we understood that. Because the person who I called did the work, but that went to another person. That person had to move the file to the next person. So it's a system. So we said, forget it. Let us bring everybody to the panchayat, make them stay there for 10 days to 2 weeks. Pendal hakadvi ondina.
Oh,
Here, Pendal haki, we said, bring all your issues, and we said, we will solve all these issues here, right here. There's been no going back to the office. So we picked the panchayat, which is close to the taluk office, so we can go get files, and because that was the first experiment. So we did that, and we've kind of we set up a system where people came to our issues. So initially, a lot of people were apprehensive because they thought, I mean, we have seen all this dance in the past. People come and take these applications, and then nothing happens. Right? And we cannot blame that. So what I did personally is I went to each and every house, right, although we are campaigning for elections, and gave them and explained to them, say that, hey, take this, this is an initiative that we've come up with. Then slowly people started coming. When they didn't come, we actually formed teams.
wow. So this is obviously
Right there.
right there, and you went back on the ground. I mean, the biggest issue that most people in the country will talk about, especially with regard to politicians, is vote ಕೇಳಕ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, vote ತಗೊಂಡು ಗೆದ್ದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. In your first year, you've gone back to their homes and you're asking them to come out with their problems, get it solved.
So then we created a form. Like we said, we want to understand everything about your family, all your issues. So the Anganwadi workers, the Asha hackers, in the VA, the bill collector in the panchayat. So each department, we formed a team. Revenue, panchayat, then agriculture, sericulture, the Krishi Saki. So all these people, we formed a team, and we said, all right, let's go from one house to the other. This form collection, data collection took about, is a census on steroids, right? So that's what we did. So we went in and they spent 25-30 minutes in each house, understanding everything, getting their data. So we came back and we said, okay, these people need help with, they don't have the e-swap done, or RTC needs to be correctly, or somebody has passed away, they didn't have the death certificate, they didn't have the income certificate, they didn't have the caste certificate. So we made it a point that, okay, let's actually give them, whether they need it or not, like all these certificates to them, which majority of them will be valid for over 5 years.
Right.
So let's actually take out. What we did is we flipped it from people having to come and give applications for their requests to proactively providing them the services, whether they want it or not. This is a meaning they have to have all this. If there's a school, a kid going to school, they need all these certificates, right? So idella, all these certificates and RTC, majority of the documentation they need for the home or their land that they, idella we organized. But I don't think, I want to be very truthful here, I don't think we were 100% successful. The first one, we probably hit 35-40%.
But that itself, for first attempt, is a very good success rate. It cannot be 100%.
Yeah.
But I think moving in the right direction in all of these things is the most crucial thing. ನೀವು ಇವಾಗ ಹೇಳಿದ ಪ್ರಕಾರ at least I hope other politicians across the state and otherwise take this up, and I mean, I think this is a great lesson of our leaders should be proactive in setting up systems to listen to his constituents.
And then we're doing this, the survey department started surveying all the government lands. So I made a laundry list saying that the panchayat should have a burial ground. Every village should have that. So we made sure we identified those. We planted trees around that. So it gave mandate to to each and every department of what their job is when they come to this panchayat. Yes. So, like, I'll give you one example. Like, so there's this road that was built, since the time the village was born. But the electric poles were right in smack center of this.
Oh, okay.
The road was never done. There were boulders. So the people have constructed house on both sides. No. So we needed the panchayat guys. We needed the electricity guys. We needed the revenue department.
Right.
We needed the contractors. All of them. See, if I had to go solve this problem, if all of them were not there together, it would take months, years. It is never done. Right. So since all of them were there, it took us 2 hours to finish the job.
Wow.
Like, I think these were all things we learned. That's crazy. Like, started learning. Like, okay, this is how we have to solve problems. Like, that's why we call it the hackathon. Right? Like, you just come in and solve problems, and exactly hackathon. Yeah. Right? So similarly, there's we made sure every the other major issue that we focused on is how do we go in and give a personalized, localized plan for each household who's farming to transform the way that they are currently farming.
Oh, this is weird.
So we get a list. So this is the job of the agriculture, sericulture, and horticulture. We made a team. So approximately the first panchayat we surveyed was 1,600 homes, about 665 farmers, households who had land. And so we gave, this was all paper, pen and paper. We went, sat in front of their home, understood what they found. Then we said, okay, in the panchayat we chose were heavily growing sugar.
Okay.
The way we farm sugarcane, I think the spacing that we give, they had to change. So we gave them specifics of what the next plantation should look like, what plants what horticulture crops they can grow in between for them to get yield within 50 days or 60 days. So they don't have to wait till 11, 12 months or even 14, 15 months to get one single payment from sugarcane. So how can they create that? We also had the veterinary department help them with a lot of their care. So we gave them we took their data behind. We gave them this is the plan for you. So follow this. So now we gave them. Everybody had to stick that plan in their homes and say, okay, let's actually give this. At the end of the day, where we are still trying to figure out is they'll do everything what we asked for, at least majority of them. If we can all promise that, hey, this is the rate that we can meet for, right? So that's another battle, I guess. MSP, market connection, and those are a lot of people are trying to solve for that. Many of our organizations similar to us has been agitating for MSP for a long time. Central government has come up with some of those MSPs for some products like pulses and vegetable things like that. But I also feel that we have to create our own local MSP. Is because
do you have a solution in mind?
So we're experimenting that. So now that we did this paper like MVP, Julie. Now we have moved into a digital platform. So now I know how much of what produce we have.
Nice. So all of this data that you collected manually is now on a digital platform.
Digital platform, we are uploading that data. Now the survey that we're doing has been digitized. So we're now asking people to just upload this form and start entering themselves, and we don't have to spend as much time. If we need, we go and help people who don't know. Even if 50% of them do it automatically, it saves quite a bit of time. So we are trying now building systems, automating that. And now we know, okay, major issue, kids, the buses are overflowing with kids during school time. Now we know with this data that we're collecting, how many kids from one village go to which village for school, because we're collecting even that data. See, so we're collecting how many motorcycles people have, cars they have, do they have insurance or not? Because that's another common request that I get. I'll be very transparent.
Yeah, that is actually one of the things I wanted to ask you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, because
Insurance is a very, very important.
so a lot of times 90+% of the vehicles in rural India, at least in that constituency, don't have insurance after the first year. Drops it secondly. A lot of people get into accidents. The calls I get is, I met with an accident. I don't have insurance. Can I please use this other vehicle which has insurance?
Basically, you are
I'm asking the police to say, "Oh, use this." So that's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So okay, how do I solve this? Again, freeing my phone calls or requests, right? So going back to that, so we started collecting this data. Now we talk to a couple of insurance companies to come in and say, "We'll give you volume, give us big discounts." Now we know all these people are going to get insured automatically. So we're trying to take one problem at a time and start solving. With this platform, we know, like I said, we're also experimenting. Okay, can we publish this? Okay, we have X tons of capsicum we have grown, or brinjal we have grown. Can we put it on ONDC?
Oh wow!
So like, okay, now so we're again experimenting a lot of these things. Okay, how do you? I mean, once any vegetable, any crop, any vegetables or whatever you grow gets on a truck, it adds money, right? So how do you create systems where we focus on what we need locally for our consumption, and surplus is what surplus we should grow, and where should it grow? So we're now going back in and start experimenting that as well. So slowly, but surely we are making progress. And ONDC, like, what is the channel we should put it on ONDC for bulk buyers potentially? So like those are the things that we
Have you tried collaborating with any startups so far?
Yeah, so we have. We're actually working with CropIn, for communication for farmers, early morning systems, for capturing data at field level, moisture content, soil testing. So we're going in we're starting there. So that's why there's a lot of these. So if we can have the recipe ironed out, that becomes our IP for KRRS. It's like, okay, now that's where we are going to be transforming lives and say, okay, and this is how we are making a difference. And then we can go back to the government and say, because we are doing this, you need to start making policy changes.
See, at the end of the day, Bangalore is the Silicon Valley of this half of the world. And is Darshan Puttannaiah willing to give a shout out to startups and say, look, I'm here, I'm an individual, I have one constituency, I'm running all these experiments. And are you open to startups reaching out to you with various kinds of solutions that they could collaborate on with you?
Absolutely. I think I've actually talked to a couple of VCs.
Wow.
Already saying that, hey, we are open for business.
Nice.
So we said, come experiment with us. Whereas we've already talked to, like I said, Omnivore is one of the VCs and a couple of other guys. Been attending and getting the word out with a lot of researchers, WRI, and a couple of other foundations as well. We're also experimenting on the finance side.
All fintech,
So tech, and in fact, financial literacy is a key. We built a simple framework.
What does that framework
look like? So where are people spending money? How can we help them make more money? What are the grants and government funding, alternate fundings, blended financing models that we could potentially look for? How can we experiment looking at panchayati bonds, municipality bonds? People have experimented with this already. So how do we get that? That also makes the panchayats need to be financially stable in terms of tax collection. The way they run their website, it's almost like a business they need to run with that mindset. So, so we are bringing that, and then financial literacy is it goes across. So making more money doesn't mean that you have more money, right? Let's actually first start managing the money that we have first. And then say, okay, we need more money. So how do you teach this to the rural India? Like the financial literacy rate in India is 27%. So
Is it even that high? I don't think so.
yeah, they said 70%. I last read a couple of months ago, but because I wanted to, post some of this information this morning, I was doing some research. It said no, 27%. So it was pretty fresh. So relevant, and financial literacy, job creation, skill development, research. So now we are at a panchayat level. We are trying to set up small scale industries, byproducts that we could potentially start creating based on the based on the byproducts,
The produce and the wastages, etc. Now, to what you said, I have a very straight up question, right? Because you again understand startup, you understand now politics, you understand it's all about community. I think one thing that we talk about in tech and tech building is about looking at a playbook and seeing what has worked. As an interesting statistics that most people might not know, the correlation actually in our country between how rich a state is and the directly proportional impact to the number of farmer suicide, which means Maharashtra today contributes, is basically the number one contributor in terms of GDP for the country, and is also number one in the total annual farmer suicides. It is such an unfortunate thing. And again, when I was reading through some of those, I was taken aback, honestly. Of course, we all talk about Karnataka. Very recently, there was a lot of other issues around GST, hue and cry. We are the third largest contributor, Tamil Nadu being second. And Karnataka is second on the list of farmer suicides in the country, right? Whereas another interesting flip side correlation also I found was Meghalaya. Actually, in terms of the income per person, right, out of farming is number one, and Punjab actually comes number two. And if you look at their GDPs, they fall on the other side. They contribute the least. So what is happening here really? My question is there a playbook that exists somewhere like a Meghalaya or a Punjab, something that's happening there that we could adopt here if we are such big contributors, we have industries, we're doing so many things so well. Why isn't that impact being seen at the ground level to our farmers?
Yeah, there's a disparity, right? Like in Karnataka, majority of our taxes come from Bangalore. Majority, right? Right. So that's where there is a huge gap on the difference, like in terms of GDP. So this kind of normalizes Bangalore as a city, Silicon Valley, and a number of people moving in services. So to answer your question about can we learn? Yes, absolutely, right. I think that is where we are trying to do is, okay, let's actually go to the ground level and start working at the ground level, bringing people up. Like the only KPI that I am focused on for myself is how many people am I able to bring up economically. That is made as a family, they make maybe 30,000 rupees a month to 50,000 rupees a month. That is one. And the second one is infrastructure. Like how can we focus on infrastructure? Better facilities, get better access to schools, better access to that's the other side of it. So the lessons are already there. And in fact, you will go even further is all these problems are already being solved. It's in our history books. Right. I don't think we need to innovate in it. Right. We just need to go back and look and implement it. Right. And make it relevant for today. It just needs the way to implement. And then just need a little bit of tweaking here and there. But I think a lot of those these problems, like India as a country was very smart. I mean, we've been like that. We've done quite a bit of work in the past for thousands of years. You know, our GDP was the highest.
Yeah, I'm right up till 1927, some number like that. We were actually number one.
Yeah. So because all of us had, like Mahatma Gandhi had said, and Vishweshwaraya said, small scale industries. Correct. So those are all things like they already said, and that's what we have to implement it. We have to whole panchayat raj system, self-governing, localized, distributed models. This will all like we just need to effectively make sure it is working. We don't need to invent it. Use the latest tech to our advantage and make sure it works at the local level and the governance. And then the only thing that I think we need to, is just my personal thought, is the sense of community is being lost. I think we just need to bring that back. If we bring that sense, my village, my pride, it's mine. I don't need another person to come help clean right in front of my house. I'll clean. I will do things right for my village. I will go support. It's still there, but I think it is coming down. I think we can bring that meter up. I think that's where the magic is. I feel.
So, Darshanji, what I can hear from you is a very passionate, extremely idealistic young politician who's not only willing to try things, but ಕೆಸರಿಗಿಳಿದು ಮಣ್ಣು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಇದೇನೋ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಪಣ ತೊಟ್ಟು ಮುಂದುವರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. But the ground reality of all of this, if I had to ask, have you ever thought about the fact that, okay, like I mentioned, there is a duopoly in the state, mostly also in the country, right? And you are operating right now as an individual. One interesting fact, however, probably for our viewers again, is ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ನೀವು 2ನೇ ಸಲ 23ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತಾರ direct support. Congress vocally said that they will not field a candidate, supported you. And Parokshwadi, and also vocally again, Mrs. Sumulata Amrish at that point in time was the MP of Mandya, said that except for Melukote, I will campaign for every other candidate of BJP at that point in time. Although she was an independent, elected MP. Right, somewhere you had that support. So I can why I brought that up is clearly somewhere. I don't know if it's fair to say that you are in the good books of both these parties. I don't know whether it's a good thing or bad thing. Is this helping at all?
Yeah, I think, like you rightly said, my father had a very good relationship with Mr. Sidramaya. And he came from and they were all in KRRS together. When, long back when. Yes, Congress did not field a candidate. They supported me openly. And then BJP did field a candidate, but Sumulata Amrish did not come campaigning. Right? She did support me. I'm thankful for everybody and more than anybody, our team, Right Sangha, Karnataka Paksha, and a lot of other forward-thinking organizations that came campaign from all parts of the state. It's just not our constituency, people from our constituency, plus all. They supported, and we won. I will not say I won. We won. Because democracy stands for. I think that I don't think I would be here without a lot of these people's support, and I'm thankful for that. And they've given me an opportunity, and I want to make sure I contribute back and give back with whatever I. I mean, all of them have done what they did because they are hoping that I can do something. They have hopes, and I just don't want to.
Well, I'm sure of that. I don't think. I mean, I can tell you from my side, and probably for anybody that's known about your journey and everything that you're going through, even now as we speak, you have that support. But my question more so was to say that you have
Yeah,
you're on
with it. Yeah.
you're on good books of both. Is it helping aiding? Are you getting resources or ಅವರಿಬ್ಬರ ಒಳ ಜಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇರೋ ಕಡೆ ಬೂಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಪ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ತರ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ಅಪ್ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? But eventually we need subsidy funding, right?
No, I mean, I think we're getting enough. No, I'll say enough. We're getting funding, right? So from the government, they're supportive of the work that we are trying to do in the constituency, and I think um, I try to stay away from politics. To be very honest,
This is a very
in
that by itself is a very unique thing to say for
a politics.
a politician.
That's I just as much as I have to do some of these things, sometimes I feel like I question myself. Like I go back to like, okay, what did I do this week? How many events did how many ribbons did I cut? How many speeches did I give? Was that like, should I continue to market or should I just go and execute? Right. So like I always have this dilemma and I always have this debate with our team and everybody's like, you have to do this. There's some of these rituals that have come up and we as politicians have created these rituals. Like this is a must do thing. This is how we have to do. So you break the mold of the pattern. It's like, okay, now people don't see you with the same way that they saw the previous person or another person, another politician. There is a lot of these preconceived notions of okay, this is how perceived as a politician. So those are all things that are there. I think it is a tough battle. It is a tough challenge to navigate all these things. And then I think none of the parties have actually really been painful for me. Nobody has actually done anything. Just let me be me. I'm just doing JDS or BJP or Congress. None of them. Everybody has been supported locally. And it's like, okay, let's go work with us. Like when we go to these panchayats, we have members from all these parties. They work with me. They work with all our team members. I think I don't think there is any friction whatsoever between me and these parties. They let me be me.
That itself is, by the way, so refreshing to hear. For anybody, one for you to say that I don't want to be in the doing politics as a politician. I am here to serve. I am here to develop. Or taking that up, I can clearly see that is coming. You got some of that from your father, and the legacy is playing out through you. But in terms of all the implementation that you are sort of moving in that direction of doing, right? As you said, funds are coming, great, all of that is fine. But eventually, I think, do you have a vision towards, I think one thing I like in what you said is, okay, ಇವಾಗ 30,000 ದುಡಿತಾರೋ ಈ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗೆ 50,000 ದುಡಿಯೋದು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಇಂದ ಆಗಲಿ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ from a community standpoint, is there a larger scheme or vision that's playing your mind?
Yeah, so if we can successfully implement a lot of these systems and solutions, ideally, we can take it across the state. I think that's the hope. And just like a true tech guy, these processes and systems, we would like to open source it. Right? So in fact, all these, like the hackathons, I'm already documenting GitHub.
Wow.
And so we're going to put it out.
One thing I will guarantee you, all the MLAs that I have, you probably, I mean, okay, I don't want to generalize, but ಇದ್ರೆ 4-5 ಜನ ಇರ್ಬೋದೇನೋ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ currently who know what GitHub is. Swinging it.
Yeah, so we are documenting it. We are building these solution, like the tech solution. We'll be open sourcing that. A lot of this is, we want to. I mean, based on what I know I want to make sure that it's just not. I don't want to be selfish. Like, hey, this is just me. Use it if it's useful for others, and we want to go across the state. I think that's where I'm so especially focused on this data collection. How do we use data to drive decision making? How do you drive transformation of agriculture? How do you track economic growth? How do you connect markets to help the farming community go up economically? So those are all systems that we are trying to build, and the key piece is that financial management, financial literacy is being the crux of holding everything together and saying, let's help you guys. We've all adopted digital technology very easy. We have leapfrogged a couple of times. I think if we can really, I'd like to invite a lot of these, like these tech guys, like say, well, here's all the data. Like, let's actually all come together and solve these problems. Like, I think if we can effectively define the problem statements, we have enough brain power to solve this in Bangalore, around Bangalore. And I think people, based on, I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn saying, hey, how can I contribute? If we can effectively channelize these interests to make sure they are impacting effectively, I think we can build amazing systems. And I think it's all sounds rosy in thought. As a fellow entrepreneur, it's all in the execution.
Yes.
I'm very well aware of that. I think we are trying to experiment, and we're not afraid of saying we failed. And if we screw up, we pick it up.
That's great. That's great. Now, one thing that you mentioned as part of what you were saying was financial stability. Now, you've been speaking about farmers and your constituents in Delhi. I want to flip that over and ask you, right? Now, with everything that I hear you saying, of course, this is the ideal persona of the politician that anybody would want to have in their constituency, without a doubt, pan India. Right? But I think we can have, if you're open to it, I think the open conversation that I want to have with you is you are somebody that is that has seen a plush life in the US, Vapas Balri. You're now, like, again, completely trenched in the trenches and solving for social problems. All that is great from a distance, but in your own life, you are still in politics, and the general perception of politics across various age groups is simply, number one keyword is corruption, right? And the second thing that is attached to it is I think there is a loss of this whole service angle, unfortunately, right? ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ aspiring politicians also, unfortunately, at least from the conversations that I've had, and I have a cool group of friends around that side, is all about, okay, ಇವಾಗ ಒಬ್ಬ MLA ಆದ್ರೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ MP ಆದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ eventually ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆದ್ರೆ, what that means is power is directly proportional to the amount of money that, and not small money, generational wealth. And to see and proof is in the pudding ಅನ್ನೋ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು every, I think, alternative week or now probably every week there is one new scam, or ಇಂಥವ್ರು ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಇದೆ. And it's not today. I think it's happening for the last 2 decades. What's happening in your life? How are you looking at it? Is it for you? And at a straight up, maybe pick that up from how really you started off with your election campaign. Because on the election,
so I think, answer the first question. I don't think I made sure before jumping in, I have my finances taken care, and my family is set. So with the exit that I have money set aside for my life to move on, and I don't need to make money from this. And that was a deliberate choice, because I knew what my father had to go through, and he had a I think he had a lot of financial pressures. So I saw that first. I didn't want the same thing any of my family members whatsoever. So that is something that was a deliberate move that we made as a family, that we need to safeguard everyone.
Activism doesn't pay.
Right. So then, I think then when that is solved, I think the second part of the question is like our finances of elections itself. I guess, like I said, I had money. I spent money on the election campaign. Before the campaign even started, I started a padayatra across the constituency for 26 days, went to every village. You did take money, so I had to spend that money for my personal funds. I should say one of the things, differentiating things in the constituency and with Right Sangha, though, like, a lot of people spent their own. Straight up. It's been, when Professor Nandan Swami started, when he ran for election, he started a whole campaign. No to Kodi, vote to Kodi. So he said, give me money, also give me your vote. So as people gave money plus gave their votes, and they all were victorious.
Wow.
Right. So that's the crux on how at the core, that's how the organization has been built. It's not somebody coming in and funding the organization. It's from a grassroots level. Everybody is contributing. When leaders went to, in 80s, 90s, and when leaders went to different places for building the organization, the local folks had to pay their expenses. Right? So, food, if their gas expenses, whatever, a little bit of those expenses. So everybody participated, everybody contributed. And that's how this is. That's the reason why I even said earlier, we won. It's because everybody ran the elections as though they're running it with themselves. They spent the money. They spent on making sure they feed the people where there were campaigns happening. There's a lot of that, right? So it was a momentum that got built up, and people helped build that momentum, and that is what took me across the finish line. And their money, and collectively, all of us, and we don't have we have a party settled there, Karnataka, but I don't think we have a party fund per se. So it was all a lot of people, volunteers, individual contributing, coming in and helping, staying here, spending their money, time. So people from Belgaum, Bida, they all drove here, spent 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and the campaign. So it was a very heartwarming experience. We very honest in terms of how everybody came together to carry me across the finish line.
That is so well said.
It's
People carried you across.
so it's not. It is like me, my sisters, my brother, my mom. We all sit and we reminisce about like how we ran the election. I didn't say we. I think we as a everybody, like how everything came together, and just because like our opponent he's pretty strong, and he was a former minister, MP. He knows his. Yeah. There's no question about it, and I openly talk about how good he is in terms of politics and election, and he's a master in that. And I have no, and for me to go in and win against him, the only reason is because people.
So actually, I think in fact ನೀವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಗೆದ್ದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ I was honestly watching live on all the updates, and ನಿಮ್ಮ wife also Lord, how Pragi she cried. I think she broke down in front of the camera, and she's like all this effort, and finally to see something fructify. Of course, it must have been once in a lifetime kind of a moment, even for her, because our support every day, anything and everything that you're saying right now is not possible. The real thing, if you had not put things in place, you would not have been able to so easily. And of course, the moral support that I'm sure you're getting from the family side is what is creating a difference. And ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಓಕೆ ರೈಟ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 2-3 really good youngsters out there nationally who are taking that path. I already brought up a Prashant before. Yep. Real happy to have somebody like you leading the way, and probably Annamalai, at least from the point of view of being also in a cushy job, bureaucrat, leading all of that, again, leading his family aside and doing all this, is setting up a lot of momentum and providing sufficient encouragement for youth to actually follow in the right footsteps. But honestly, how feasible, according to you, is there a need, first of all, according to you? One.
Yep.
And is it feasible? Feasible ಆದರೆ ಹೇಗೆ? ಇವಾಗ duopoly ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. Congress, BJP have their own play, and it's family led, all of that. We will not get into it. What is your vision towards it?
No, I mean, after we have kind of started working a year and a half, I hope more people from diverse backgrounds come in with the sole mindset to make a difference. Yes, it is a very hard entry point into politics, and it's a known fact. But at the same time, I think there is an opportunity for people. I think you need to reach people, tell them your vision, tell them who you strongly are committed. Be committed, and it comes across. It's hard to fake that.
Hard take.
Right? So be committed, and I think everybody has an opportunity. I mean, you can all be victorious, and whatever small way. I do feel that. I mean, even myself, like I never even ran for college elections. School monitor, no. Class monitor, no. I tried away. Right, so it just so happened the world transpired. Right. And I'm here.
Join the dots backwards.
Yeah. So at the same time, I do feel a lot of people shy away. It's like, hey, it's dirty. It's it's not my job. Let somebody else clean it up. It's not my mess. I think I've learned that I think we all should stop saying that and say, well, let's go fix smaller things. Be it just cleaning up your own street, for example, whatever the mess may be. It's physical mess or the system's mess. Well, let's start there, and I do feel and encourage people from a lot of diverse backgrounds to come join this, and whatever your personal political choices and your outlook is, pick your place and join. I mean, regardless of where you go, as long as you have the heart to make a impact and you have the resources to make it happen, please join.
Yeah, you've spoken financially, you can see. Spoken about overall implementation of tech and the whole startup way of hustling and getting things done. Talking about education overall sort of puts things in it's a nice cohesive form.
Well, that's the way that in the framework is. 3 things people spend money on: education, healthcare, weddings. Right? So where we need more money to be made, so they focused on that first block. Like, how do you help cut expenses? Education. Let's go build school. Bring Namur Gadnar school bus for a pay. Our goal is 0 school buses should come in. Everybody should go and do art.
I didn't get that. 14 school buses ಬರುತ್ತೆ. What is the alternative? Okay.
They all go to private schools.
Oh, that is what you mean. 14 school buses andre correct.
Private
buses andre private school hatra.
They should not go to private schools. They should just go to our government schools, provided we gave them the right kind of education, infrastructure, the same level of education that a private school provides. Why won't they go?
Right.
Free. So every kid, your parents have to spend 1,20,000 to 1,60,000 a year. So we'll save that money for them.
Wow. That is a huge expense. By the way,
Yeah.
especially on Melukote ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ತಾಲೂಕಲ್ಲಿ
So that's the way we are approaching health. How can we solve some of these? I mean, we still yet to figure out a lot of those health side of things. We're not there yet. But we're starting to experiment on this in wedding, like how India Gottirange Saravaha was a big thing.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್
I got married the same way. And
ಮಾಂಗಲ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲ ಮಂತ್ರ ಮಾಂಗಲ್ಯ.
so it was just simple weddings, 2-3 hour affair, we're done.
ಮೈ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ ರೈಟ್ ಸಂಗೀತ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಮಂತ್ರ ಮಾಂಗಲ್ಯ.
So how do you make it in such a way that okay, it is cool to get married in a simple way?
Yeah, that's actually,
So
especially in today's era where the last thing you know about weddings is Ambani's throwing like a 10,000 crore wedding.
when you go, it's a competition.
Correct.
We had 10 palyas, 10 palya ittu, 100 palya ittu, 8 sweet ittu, 10 sweet ittu.
Correct.
So how do you psychologically train people's minds like, okay, this is good. Again, everything is in the history books.
Correct.
So now, when I was asking a lot of leaders, they used to say, we used to be so jam-packed our days just going to weddings, simple weddings. They used to go orchestrate that whole wedding. Awaga, so then said, okay, we have to revive that. We have to bring it to the forefront and brand it and say, this is a cool wedding, zero waste.
Yeah.
We will give us, maybe we build a business over here.
Yeah.
And employ people. Like, okay, 5 lakhs, like a wedding will be done. 10 lakhs, nice, like what will be done. Simple weddings.
That's actually pretty cool. I hope somebody actually picks that up and does something about it. And you're right. It's such a, I mean, I get it. It's emotional. There's a lot of other things that is happening. But in my thought process, really, it makes absolute sense. I mean, among the 3 things that you've identified as the, number 1, number 2, number 3 cost centers, education, healthcare, and then weddings, right? Which is the Rajaga Jatra means unexpected third lap. So educationally, because you brought that up, now one of the initiatives, and I believe that's closer to your heart, is also around transformation of government schools, or in some way, betterment of it. So I know you're running some experiments. So what is that experiment? What's been happening?
Yeah, so it's 2 days ago, we actually demolished one of our government schools and we are rebuilding it from scratch.
Demolished, like actually took down the whole damn thing.
The whole government school that was built in 1935.
Wow.
So we still have the stones. We'll make sure the stone goes on the new school. But we had issues. So we're raising money from a lot of the private folks, build it up to a private school standard, hire teachers. So the government is very supportive. The Bungarappa ಅವರು ಮತ್ತೆ principal secretary, commissioner, they're all aware of this. There's a ratio in students, teachers, that we've talked to them. Because of this experiment we're running, they're supportive, and we want to make sure we build and give, in our village, the 16 school buses, private school buses that come in. We want to ensure, we've already talked to a lot of parents on what is it that they're looking for in a government school that'll make them change their minds to have them sent to our government school. Everybody spends anywhere between 1,20,000 to 1,60,000 per year. So that's a huge expense. It's huge. And when, a lot of the moms, when they work at the garden factories, they make 15,000-20,000 maximum per month. So it's a huge expense that we can save. So we're doing that. We want to build we've picked so far 6 schools that we want to do. We started with one.
All of this is PPP model.
No, there's no
Private
PPP model.
Then
So we're raising money, whether it is grants and whether it is philanthropic capital that people donate money. We pool everything, we build it, and assign it back to give it back to the government, and the government it to the local authorities. They're not running it. It's not our private school; it is a government school. That's the misconception a lot of people have, is that we just build it, give it, and they run.
you create the infrastructure and the necessary support system, and it's being handed over to the government.
It's not our school; it's the government school.
That's brilliant. Is that even allowed? And if that is, then why isn't it being taken up at scale? If it is really as simple as that, it is each MLA can take it up,
I
right?
think it is a quite a task.
I mean, when I said it's as simple as that, I didn't really do.
It took us a year to really figure out how to even go about this.
Oh,
It's like, a lot of the processes, a lot of the approvals that we needed to take, we just because a lot of things happen. School elections happen. There's a lot of events that happen. The government teachers. There's a lot of things that the government teachers need to do. Just not teaching. So we had to take, like I said, we had to understand it and then come up with a solution. So those are the that's one experiment. We identified, like I said, 6 places where we want to build different locations. Then we will expand after seeing how successful these schools are, where we can potentially, the tall order that we have is like 70 students is how many kids 70 kids is how many we have today. So in the school, in the one in our village, just 70, but we need to make sure it goes up to 600, 700, right? Kids. 10x jump. So the answer is in the private school buses. So we need to bring that back. So that's the build infrastructure, give good education. Every parent wants the kid to go to a good school, good education. As Indians, that's what we really value, and we invest our life savings in that. So we want to do that.
But a quick question. I'm sure there is a nexus around the private school. How are they going to feel about this?
I have not said, but maybe it's just I'm just focused on my thing. Yes, there will be some uproar about all that, but at the same time, I think it is the right thing to do to give free education.
That's a very important.
So that is an important aspect of it, and I think if we, everything, like I said, you're doing goes back to the economics of the infrastructure, and the third one is like on the how do you use tech for digital governance, right? So that's like 3 things that we are focused on. Everything we say we are doing goes into one of these buckets. Wow, and just focus on.
So I think all of our conversation has been so progressive, and this right now ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಈ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು we are speaking in Bangalore in your LH in LH, and ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಇವಾಗ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಸಮಯ I was sort of transformed into your vision and world of how you are thinking about Melukote. I have not been to Melukote, but right now in this conversation I was imagining everything that you were talking about and how each of those things might be implemented on ground. But the 2 questions that I want to ask you, which are definitely relevant, right? I'll ask you the easier question first, which is right, center, left, center. Kaun banega crorepati question tara. Pick one.
I need the
Which one is
option.
Do you need a 5th option?
Yes.
Which is that 5th option?
I'm not concerned about all those things. I'm just focused on making progress, bringing our people up. That's it. That is my approach. That's this road I'm going to take. And I am not concerned about what is right, what is wrong, center, middle. And I think this is, I've made a deliberate effort. There are things that everybody says, everybody has something nice and right. Let's pick the nice ones that are relevant and keep people the center of everything. And how do we help people move up? Like, move up the pyramid. If you, like from the bottom, how do we move it up to the next step? From there to the next step, how do we keep progressing? That's it.
I think for anybody else, the next question would have been, will you eventually join one of the two duopolies? But no, I don't want you to answer that question. I don't have that question because I believe ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾನ್ವರ್ಸೇಷನ್, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ರೆಲೆವೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಮಾತಾಡಿರೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ಸರಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಆರ್ ಮೀ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಯು ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡೈಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ದ ಹೋಲ್ ಕಾಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಓವರ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್
one I don't answer that and you said no.
And that was the easier question. The more important, relevant question, however, is around your view on what is secular and what is the role of caste. Because no matter how much, like I said, a lot of things that we've spoken about, progress, community, tech, everything, right? But grassroots level ಬಂದು ಮಾತಾಡಿದಾಗ it is a conversation.
Yeah.
So it is important to know what you think about it.
Yeah, no, I'll be very honest. There's, people have seen me in multiple instances. If there is one topic that gets me ticked off, is caste. Somebody says to me, and hey, I belong to this. You need to help me. That's it. Conversation done.
Oh, so basically asking you a favor
because I'm
by playing the caste
card, yeah, and saying that hey, we belong to this caste. Give us this, and we'll do this for us. I don't approve of it. I don't listen to them. I don't talk to them. I just shut everything. And was right or wrong, that has been my upbringing. In my house, everybody, regardless of the caste, we all sat together and ate beer. This was from when my grandfather was around. My father obviously took that forward. My grandfather, to his age, he was already progressive in that sense. Like that, my father took that forward, and now I don't have the caste nerve in me, unfortunately. So that's like I said, everything is about people moving them forward. There's, yes, sometimes they talk about all these things. I honestly, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I just turn a blind eye and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, if you ask me, if anybody would probably ask me, Darshan ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಬಂದು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, I'd probably, with your permission, maybe say farmer, right? That for me, from your background, including your family legacy, all of that, and it has played a role. And I don't think beyond that, of course, other elladara ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ human being, and below that maybe one sub layer ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, I think everybody is looking up to you to be that leader, especially for the youth today, right? In context of, at least from agriculture, from actually taking care of, as we all can agree, the majority of our population and also the highest contribution to the GDP comes from farming and agriculture, even now. So I think there's a dearth of leaders like you who are willing to do whatever is necessary, leave a plushy job, come here, get down in the trenches and do whatever it takes. And as is the name of our podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I think I've said a lot of nice things. But that's what I truly see. But at the same time, I want to be very transparent that everything I spoke also is very hard. Implementation wise, doing things, like sometimes your brain hurts. sometimes you always like wonder, man, can this even be done? But I think you look at people, you take some of these smaller successes and keep doing this, and just have to keep moving forward. And I just wanted to say that, it's like I just don't want to feel like, oh, I'm daydreaming here, right? I in a sense I am, but at the same time, I'm also living in reality and understanding the problems, understanding the solutions. It might take. I mean, my hope is I may not be able to implement everything, but at least I want to start. The right, wrong, whatever that may be, just being, if not for anybody else, being true to myself.
No, you said it very well. And I think it all starts with a dream. I fundamentally believe, to some extent, daydreaming is important because that is what helps you form a vision, and that vision allows you to execute. And I mean, I don't think anybody would agree that you are simply daydreaming. From everything that we have just spoken about, you have clearly been taking action from day one. From the first month, you tried an experiment, you thought it would work, put up a call center, didn't work. Took that feedback, then went on to set up something else, and then so it's a day-to-day affair. And I'm sure I think people understand that, especially social transformations cannot happen in a day, week, or sometimes even a decade, right? When you take the larger context of the country, and from the same vision standpoint, one fun thing that I want to do in the end is ask you to hypothetically put yourself in 2047, which is the centenary year of India's independence. What do you, let's say, and I know of your age, if you don't mind me telling the audience, maybe 69 or 70. 22 years from now, you'll be 69 or 70, depending on the month. Right? Well, let's play this out. You're 69, 70, probably doing a podcast like this over VR or on Mars or wherever, I don't know. But what do you think India would be in 2047? And what kind of leaders do you think are the ones shaping our great nation and Bharat?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I don't think I've thought about that yet, but I do feel that just when you're asking this question, I thought about it as, let's just not do lip service about the farming community, about hey, they are the backbone of our country, but truly make sure they are and have the freedom they really deserve to be calling them the backbone of economically, infrastructure-wise. Our villages need to be rebuilt. We need to give them better infrastructure, better living conditions, access to a lot of things. Let's all collectively bring that and give them the true freedom that the farmers need.
I think that kind of sums up everything that you probably aim to see. I don't think I could have summed it up better than that. Thank you so much, Darshanji, for taking the time. This was a wonderful, very, very refreshing and enlightening conversation. First of all, to have with a politician. I never imagined I will have have a conversation about the topics, the kind of topics that we dwelled into today. So I'm very, very glad, and thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Very much.